Welcome everybody to the Falcon one-shot. On the agenda, we have Unreal World here today. This right here is one of those roguelike games that have been around the market for a long time. As a matter of fact, if you look at the bottom of the screen over here, this has been a development project since 1992. Not to say that the game has not been completed in 24 years, but there has been still updates in terms of content, in terms of lore, in terms of mechanics as we go along over here up to this very day. When we come over here to choose a culture, all of these are going to be based on different type of cultures and races in the game. And based on what their background might be, they'll excel at different type of skills, they'll have different type of body types that'll kind of help them out. Some will be like, you know, profound fishermen right off the bat, some will be profound hunters, some will be amazing at wood cutting. So I'm going to go with, let's try female for instance here. And let's see, we get to choose a portrait for a character. Kind of like the first one. I like the first one a lot. Not too bad. Kind of a cutie, right? I'll go with her right here. You get to choose the season to start off with as well. If you want to have a pretty good start, I would always recommend starting with spring because it gives you a lot of time to get ready for winter. And in winter, you could have like your own little base set up, have your food already kind of preserved for the long winter time. But, you know, you can just choose whatever you want to, but spring will probably give you the better chance at this. Since we're only doing one single little look at here, I'll just go with summer. And we get to re-roll our stats over here if we're not really too interested in what we got. So let me just re-roll here for a bit. I would like something with a bunch of strength, endurance, maybe some agility and speed. Let's see. That's good. I like the high agility, the high speed, dexterity, and endurance. Not too bad in strength. I'll go with this one right here, so we'll choose that one right here. As you get your character over here created, you also get some rituals and incantations. Usually you don't have to use this. I normally forget to use them myself, but they will kind of help you out with different type of things. For instance, we have the hunting incantation, meaning if you use this at the start of the day, you'll probably have a better hunting expedition. You'll probably either catch stuff faster, keep up with game, so on and so forth. And you also have a few incantations and rituals here as well. That's all fine and dandy. Let's go into escape for exit. After you're done with that, you get 5 points over here to kind of throw in your character along the way. As you progress with the game, you'll level these up naturally, but to start off with, I would probably recommend you to kind of focus on certain things you want to excel at right off the bat, so you're not over here like doing a jack of all trades. You kind of have somebody that specializes in something, and then everything else will just kind of fall into place as you go forward here. So I'm going to go with, I like spears just because I like making javelins for hunting, so I will pick up spear. I also like tracking for hunting. Timbercraft's actually pretty good, so you could actually knock down trees and trunks, and when you have like a pretty good timber crafting skill, you'll be able to make like decent wood, and then that decent wood would be turned into decent tools, because everything that you make is going to be based on the state of the item that you're using, right? So if you're using like a shitty piece of wood, you'll probably get a really shitty weapon or a tool when you make that happen. So you definitely want to have decent materials to craft your tools down the line over here. So I'll go with that one. I'll also grab carpentry, and let's see. Trapping is pretty good for hunting as well. But let's just go with building, why not? And yes, I'm fairly happy with this loadout here. So as you start off over here, you'll get like a random map kind of randomized for you. If we hit, what are we looking at here? C? You'll bring up all the different cultures of the game right here, and it'll give you an idea where these cultures kind of hail in this map that you're at. The purple region are a bad region. They're going to be coming after you. If they see you, they'll try to get you into slavery, try to kill you straight up. So that's something you definitely want to avoid. Normally, I like to start off with somewhere by the Owl tribe is not too bad. The Camu are not too bad, and the Keys as well. So this right here is a pretty decent little spot for us to start off with. So once that's over here set up, we have the startup scenario over here. With this one, you could just go with straight up Unreal World. It'll drop you into the world, fresh as a daisy, and you kind of go about your own way. But if you kind of want, if you're like a new player and you want like a bit of either a scenario to play off of, or just a few extra tools to help you out, you get to choose what you want over here. Normally, I like to go with Abandoned Camp because it does start you off with a shelter, so you're able to sleep if it's raining or snowing and things of that nature, because if it's raining or snowing, you cannot sleep. You need to have some shelter before you can get rested over here. So I will go with Abandoned Camp. Everything in this game is going to be really in-depth. Everything's going to be kind of controlled through your keyboard. There's going to be a bunch of like keys to like, you know, set up farming, set up fire, set up building. There's a lot to learn in this game, but there is also an in-game encyclopedia that will teach you all the basics. So if you ever feel lost, you could always open up your encyclopedia and just kind of read out what kind of tools you need and what kind of keys will start up certain projects. Early on, it's going to be a bit of a difficult thing to learn every single key, so you'll be opening that encyclopedia over and over until you finally get it. But once you do, it's really rewarding because you get to kind of progress the game a lot faster. So our first task is going to be water. The most basic thing over here, after 3 days without water, you will probably perish, so you obviously need to get some water in you. Alrighty. So right now we're in summer. It does seem to be raining right now, light rain, so we probably wouldn't be able to sleep straight up right now because it's raining, but because we have an abandoned camp to start off with, let me just kind of look around over here. Where is this camp at, or this shelter? Maybe if we move up, here it is. Perfect. So, over here we have a shelter, we have a few items as well, we have a stone knife, not too bad. I'm going to go ahead and pick this up with comma. Again, everything's done through your keyboard over here, so you'll have to learn all these keys. We also have a bow, not too bad as a hunter. Do I have an axe? Oh, I don't have an axe. I would really love a hand axe to start off with, but we don't have one. Alrighty. Well, we'll try to make do. Nope, that's not what I'm looking for. So let's get on out of here. We have a shelter, though, and let's see. I guess we'll probably just go down the task that the game's going to kind of give us over here, and that'll be a better way to kind of teach you the mechanics over here. So right now we're looking for water. For this, let's get on out of this map by hitting enter to zoom on out. Right now, we were in the local map, now we're kind of in the overworld map over here. So, our first task is going to be to get some water. So, if we move around on the world map here, there's going to be different levels sometimes, so you'll be able to get a bigger view of the entire map once you hit a different level. So, here we go. You have a bit of a plateau. That's a village coming up right here already, too. I'm not really looking for a village just yet. As you explore the wilderness, a settlement comes into view up ahead. Cool. We're not looking for that right now, we're just looking for something to get some water off of, so we'll continue moving about. By the way, I could have, you know how that shelter's over there to indicate our little camp? Meanwhile, you could also mark that on your map by going into F6, if I'm right, and you'll be able to set up, like, different little markers to kind of remind you where all these things are at, because you could get lost here relatively easily, so that was added, I think, not too long ago, because it wasn't a feature in the past, to my knowledge. So, right now we're just looking for water, so I'll continue to move around. Oh, we have some water right here. Perfect. At the same time, I'm trying to keep my eyes open for any sort of animal that we could probably hunt. So right now we have some deep water. I'm gonna need a swim or go by watercraft. So we're just gonna zoom in into the local map here, and here's some water for us already. Great. So we'll come over here and get some water. What is that over there? Just a big log. All right. So we'll come over here and we'll hit Q to drink or quaff something up. So we want to drink from the natural resource. Yes. So we drank some water, and now we got our first task out of the way over here. Now, the next one's going to be a closer look. So, for the closer look, we already did that as a matter of fact. The closer look is the local map that we're at right now, and as you can see, it's already completed because we already knew about it. Next thing will be picking stuff up. We already kind of covered that as well, but we need to complete it, so let's go ahead and pick up this rock over here, and that will complete this task. Great. Next one, we have make a fire. So, for the fire, you're going to need something to kindle a fire. So, something like twigs or small slender trunks going to be in your advantage. You can't just go up to a big-ass log over there and light it on fire initially and, you know, be good to go. I do believe that was a possibility in the past, but not anymore. So, what we're going to want to do is actually bring down this tree. Because it's a small tree, it'll give us smaller logs. Or, alternatively, what we could do is also scrape off some branches and twigs with our knife. So, since we don't have an axe to bring this down, it's going to be kind of difficult to bring down this entire tree with that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my knife to cut down some twigs and start a fire. So, let's go into, let's see, we need skills. And we'll go into timbercraft. If you go into your skills, you'll be able to do all the, I guess, actions accumulated with that skill. But if you learned all the shortcuts to the game, you'll be able to just hit shift and a key to bring up the timbercraft option, shift and M to bring something else up. But again, it's all a matter of learning all these keys, which honestly, I don't really have them by mind, so I usually go to my skills to make it a lot easier for myself here. So we have fall tree, or fell tree. You can also chop down a fell tree into blocks, splint firewood from a block, there's different things you could do. There's so much you could do in this game, mind you. But we're going to go with this one right here, which is going to be cut branches and twigs from the tree. So we'll select this one. The tree is to our right-hand side, so we'll collect that one and continue. So let's see. The Camaleus knife in your inventory will be used. Okay, you have all the necessary equipment, the rain has increased, and you are also sweating right now. So what that means is it's a bit too hot for everything that we're wearing at the moment. You finished cutting down the branches, they are lying beside you on the ground. Great, so now if I move downwards and turn back around over here, I could start a fire. So we'll hit F to start a fire. There you go. And because it's raining, the fire will have less intensity, so it'll be turned off a lot faster, so you gotta also keep that in mind. Everything that you do in this game is gonna be really realistic to a life scenario, so just keep everything in mind. It's so much depth when it comes to that. So we got our mega fire task completed, great. Next up, we're gonna need cookery. Now, the game's gonna toss you a bone here. Essentially, because you probably don't have any actual raw food to cook initially, and it's trying to teach you, it'll actually give you a fish straight up. So as you can see over here, it says a game course event is coming up. Press space to continue, and you got a fresh pike. Excellent, that's going to be a fish. So, with my fresh pike over here, I will go into my inventory. I don't have it just yet, right? So I got to pick it up. Let's hit comma. Wait. Hold on. Move out of the way. Where's my fish yet? Fishy? No, I did have it, didn't I? Yeah, there it is. It's in my inventory after a pike right here. Okay. So I'm facing the fire. I'm gonna go into my skills and go into cookery. And essentially, everything that you cook is gonna have different levels to it in terms of how long it'll last in your inventory without going bad. Roasting, it'll be like the most easiest way to do it. You'll be able to just put something over an open fire and let it roast, and then you can eat it. Mind you, it's not gonna last you too long. If you go ahead and dry, salt, or smoke for preservation, those will obviously last you for a long time. And normally, for winter, you want to have a pretty good quantity of dry food, salted food, smoked food, you know, so on and so forth here. But for the premise of this video, I'm not going to really worry too much about that, because it does require extra steps that we probably won't be covering here today. So I'm going to go into roast, and raw meat or fish. We have a pike right here, I'll select that one. We have a fire already. Press space to continue. Cool. And now you're not done instantly, right? Hold up 1 second here. Cookery is done, right? Next is going to be timber work, which is going to be to bring down a tree. So we're not done right now. We have the fish over here cooking. So if I was to move out of the way, and let's use F3. With F3, you get to actually choose targets to investigate. It'll give you ideas in terms of when you're hunting. F3 is really useful. It'll tell you how tired your prey is, how injured it is. So it'll kind of give you an idea if you're kind of close to bringing it down or not. But you could also use it against different items. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and highlight our fish and click on it. You see a roasted pike being prepared. So if I went over that pike and tried to pick it up, it's going to tell me you can't pick it up until so-and-so time when it's actually done cooking. So even though you set it up for cooking, it's not going to be ready yet for a while. So our next task right now is going to be the bring down the old tree, right? We don't have an axe, so it's going to be a bit more difficult to bring one down. So let's see if we can just at least bring down the small young tree over here with one of our knives. It's going to probably take us a lot longer to bring it down, but we should be able to do it. Let's see, we're also kind of sweaty here. Let me go into my inventory. Actually, let's just go ahead into Shift-T. And this will let you take off some article of clothing. So right now, let's go ahead and remove the rough fur overcoat for now. You take off your rough fur overcoat. So hopefully it'll kind of bring our warmth upwards so we're not over here just sweating away. If you sweat too much, if you get too hot, you will exhaust yourself and you'll pass out. So keep that in mind. Alright, so I took that off. Meanwhile, hopefully it'll help us out here. Let's go ahead and see about bringing down this tree. So if we go into our skills and go back into Timbercraft, we'll have the fell tree option. We have a cutting weapon. Again, it's going to be a knife, so it's not as good as an axe. And we want to go ahead and bring down the tree in front of us here. And as you can see, because the rain is so intense, the fire already went off. It didn't really last too long. So we brought down this tree over here. Great. Next up, we have do-it-yourself. For do-it-yourself, it just wants you to learn something on your own. So we'll probably build something here really quickly. So since our fire is out, our fish is no longer cooking, which is a bad deal. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to come into this little stack of trunks that we just brought down. I will already have a staff already. That's actually great then, you know what? Perfect that we have a staff. What I'm going to do instead then is bring myself on out of here. Start a fire with everything that we have over here again. And this should be some, smaller kindling, huh? Okay. Let's come over here. And Timbercraft will go ahead and cut some branches off. And right now we stop because something came into our purview here, I want to say, right? Meanwhile, Black Grouse enters your view. It's going to be that, let's see, that bird over here flying about. So if you're like ever doing a task, right, and some sort of animal enters into your purview, you'll stop and it'll alert you. So sometimes like you'll have like wolves or bears or, you know, other bad dudes that'll just come into your view. And if you're over here busy working and you don't stop, they'll come over here and maul you and kill you. You don't want that happening, right? So the game will stop you and be like, hey, this over here is in your purview. You want to stop doing this and get ready in case you're going to get killed by this bear, and you could, stop and do your thing over here. So for now, I'm going to say no. We're not going to be hunting that bird down. We probably need a bow for that. So we have some twigs now. Let's go ahead. What I want to do, I want to have a bigger fire so it actually lasts through this big rain that's happening right now. So right now I'm going to teach you about the moving feature. Instead of picking like stuff up like big trunks, which will encumber you really, really fast, you could just push items over to like a bigger pile and start a fire that way. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to hit M for move. Or prefer, what is it here? Is it... What is that? So yeah, we have 19 twigs in our feet over here. So I'll select all 19 of them, and I'm going to move them down to where that big stack of trunks is at. So we'll go in here and here. Perfect. And I'll hit M so we can stop hauling items. And I'm going to move down here and start this fire off now properly. And as you can see, bigger fire because not only are we using the twigs that we brought down from the tree, but we also have those giant logs. So a bigger, more intense fire. Now the problem is my fish is probably no longer cooking if I'm right. So you see a roasted pike being prepared there. Let me see if I can pick it up. I'm not sure if it's going to still take effect from the fire here, but let me give it a try. So can I pick you up? No, not yet. So it's still being cooked now that we got the fire next to it over here running. So even though it's not necessarily directly next to it, it's still adjacent to it to the side, so it'll still cook off after all. So we still have an hour to wait before this fish is done. So what I want to do right now is actually just build a random tool. Since we have a staff, this is going to be really interesting, especially if you're trying to do a javelin or a spear. You can't just straight up grab a piece of wood and make it into a spear. It's kind of like a step-by-step process. So if I pick up a log, I would have to turn it into a staff, and then that staff will be turned into a spear. But since we already have a staff, we can just go into making a spear straight up. I'm going to go with a javelin for this one here. So let's go into, what is it I'm looking for here? I'm looking for Shift and M if I'm right, and it'll give us a weapons task over here. And as you can see, we can make stone axes, which would be nice, but the problem is we need rope, and I don't think I have rope on me. No, we didn't start off with any rope, it doesn't seem. Actually, we do. We have inferior leather rope. So if I could find a stone, hey, there it is, a stone. Let me pick up the stone. We might be able to make an axe after all, which would be pretty nice. This is going to be an inferior one just because of the state of our rope, but we should be able to make it. So let's go into weapons one more time. Stone axe. We require a slender trunk, which we don't have right now, but we can make one. So let's see here. Where is a smaller tree? I guess we have one right over here. Let me bring you down again, my friend. We'll do fall tree. Alrighty, and all I want to do is just pick one of these bad boys up, so let's just pick up one for now. As you can see, my carrying capacity went up to 110 because I'm now carrying a giant trunk over here. So that's the reason why you want to push or move items instead of just carrying them straight out. So now that I have that on me, let's go back to our fire. And we should be able to make a weapon now, preferably the stone axe. So we're looking for rope. We have a knife as well. Let's go ahead and craft this bad boy. And something came into my purview. Is that bird again? Get out of here, bird. I'm busy. So we'll skip it. Oh, I canceled it by mistake because I'm a dumb idiot. So that's my bad. My bad. Go back to weapons, stone axe, rope, continue. And this will take you longer based on different tasks, like the quality of your tools, the weather going on, how tired you are, things of that nature. So we went ahead and built ourselves an axe already. Great. Next one's going to be fishing. Luckily, we do have some water nearby, so it's an easy one to actually complete over here. And by the way, since we over here spent like, 3 hours doing this, making this axe, our fish should be ready as well. And the game will also gift you a fishing rod, because more than likely you won't be able to make one too early on over here. So that's great on the game's part over here. Let's come down to our fish, and it should be ready to be picked up now. Oh, he spoiled it! And that's what I meant about the roasted food not lasting too long. The point is that we cooked it for such a long time, and the rain is over here degrading it over time, so it definitely did spoil on us, unfortunately. Let me see if I can still pick it up, though. I'm curious about that. Yeah, I can still pick it up and eat it if I wanted to. If I wanted to, test my nerves over here, I could do that. If you have, like, a decent herbal skill, you could probably make some medicine to kind of combat the illness that you probably grab from it. But since we're not really, proficient in that, I'm going to go ahead and say no. But we are quite hungry, so let me go into our food here, which we're at here now. We have a smoked elk. We want to keep that around. Rye bread also takes a while before it degrades, so I guess we probably go ahead and have the dried forest reindeer cut over here. And our hunger went down. Great, we're still kind of tired though, so with that being said, do we still have any logs that we're carrying around? We have a rough stone axe, we have a rock. I guess we could drop the rock now. Dwayne Johnson over here, so we'll drop this. Drop the arrows as well. I don't really see myself using... Oh, I do have a hunting bow. Never mind. I'll keep that around. We have a short sword as well. We actually start off with some decent items this time around. I normally don't start off with all these different weapons on me. We'll drop the rock, though. That's fine. Okay. If you want to rest, you could either hit Alt and minus, and it'll actually have you rest on the spot without going to sleep. This is a way to bring your fatigue down, but it's not going to rest you up. If you definitely want to rest and get your vigor, since it's a bit tired, you would have to actually find your shelter because it's raining and then go to sleep. Alt minus is only going to give you a time to rest, but it's not going to, I mean, it'll lower your fatigue, but it's not going to actually rest your body completely, so your vigor is still going to be, going downwards over here. And if your vigor hits too low, you'll start crawling. And if you're crawling, you're going to be more limited to what you can do. So right now, all we have to do is really fish, right? I think at this point, we'll probably start wrapping it up, guys. As I mentioned, we have barely covered just the tip of the iceberg in this game. There is so much to do. But everything is really in-depth. That's what I really enjoy about the game. And once you get done with the tutorial and you learn how the game works out, you'll be able to get into your own little quest over here. Everything is basically free-for-all. If you want to go into a village and just fuck stuff up, you could do that. You could go into hunting some game. Unfortunately for us, man, if I could find that... Say, if we had that bow on us, which we do, we have some arrows. I guess I'm going to try to take a shot at that bird flying around, but... A little bit too late for that now, huh? Yeah. Well, anyway, this right here is Unreal World. As I mentioned, just a little bit of the tip of the iceberg. There is so much to cover in this game, but as you can see, just, going through like 5 tasks alone took us this much time, especially with the whole startup phase over here. But really, really fun game. If you enjoyed what you see and you're into roguelikes and you're into games with this much depth, description below should have a link to the information that you need to pick it up. Really fun game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Leave a thumbs up. I will catch you next time.